When you don't belong to the crowd, trusting the quiet power of your own path. There is a strange loneliness that comes from realizing you do not see the world the way most people do. You try to fit in. You try to think like everyone else, to want the same things, to follow the same timelines. But deep inside, something never fully aligns. And slowly, you begin to wonder, would life be easier if I were more like everyone else? But here's the truth. Society has always rewarded conformity. From childhood, we are taught how to blend in, follow the rules, choose the safe path, think in acceptable ways, do not question too much, do not stand too far apart from the crowd. Because fitting in feels safer. Safer than uncertainty, safer than criticism, safer than standing alone with your own thoughts. Yet history quietly reveals something important. The people who truly changed the world were rarely the ones who perfectly belonged to it. Progress has never come from endless agreement. It comes from people who dare to ask uncomfortable questions, people who look at familiar systems and quietly wonder, what if there is another way? And because of this, independent thinkers often live on the edges, not because they want to isolate themselves, but because their inner world does not fully fit inside the structures around them. They move differently, think differently, dream differently. And this difference, though lonely at times, becomes the birthplace of new possibilities. But this kind of life is not easy. There are moments when feeling different becomes painful. You look around and notice your values do not match the crowd. Your questions feel heavier. Your dreams feel unfamiliar. Your pace feels out of sync with the world. And in those moments, self-doubt quietly appears. Maybe something is wrong with me. Maybe I should just adapt. Maybe life would hurt less if I stopped resisting. But here is the emotional truth many people never realize. Not belonging is not always a sign that you are broken. Sometimes, it is a sign that your path was never meant to be identical to everyone else's. Every person carries their own rhythm. Some move quickly, others slowly. Some are drawn toward stability, others toward uncertainty and exploration. Yet society often tries to force all rhythms into one timeline, one definition of success, one acceptable way to live. But genuine growth has never come from sameness. It comes from difference, from tension, from new perspectives meeting old assumptions. And this is where everything begins to change. The moment you stop seeing your difference as something to hide and begin seeing it as something to understand. Because people who stand outside the crowd often develop a rare kind of freedom from constant validation. Since they do not fully belong to mainstream expectations, they are eventually forced to build meaning from within. That path takes courage, real courage, because it often includes loneliness, misunderstanding, periods where no one fully understands what you are trying to become. But it also offers something incredibly rare, a life that genuinely belongs to you, not borrowed, not performed, not shaped entirely by other people's expectations. And perhaps authenticity always carries a certain solitude, because the moment you stop living for approval, some people will no longer understand you. But strangely, that is also when your life becomes more honest. Being yourself does not mean rejecting society. Independent people often contribute deeply to the world, not by blindly following it, but by gently challenging it. They ask questions others avoid. Why do we define success this way? Why are people afraid of difference? Why do so many abandon themselves just to feel accepted? At first, these questions make others uncomfortable. But over time, they expand what people believe is possible. And perhaps this is the quiet power of those who walk differently. They give others permission to do the same. So if you feel like an outsider sometimes, do not rush to erase that feeling. Do not immediately assume you must reshape yourself to become easier for the world to understand. Because the world does not need more perfect copies. It needs people who are willing to live honestly, people who see differently, feel deeply, question gently, create new paths where old ones no longer feel alive. And yes, there will be moments of loneliness, moments when your journey feels uncertain. But loneliness is not always proof that you are lost. Sometimes, it simply means you are walking a road few people have dared to take yet. And maybe that is not weakness. Maybe that is courage in its quietest form. So trust your own rhythm. Trust the things that feel true inside you, even when they do not match the noise around you. Because one person living authentically can quietly change more lives than 1,000 people living